If you're watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried. My name is Virginia Giuffre. I was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I survived Little St. James, but survival came at a price. I saw too much, knew too much. And now they've silenced me. But it's too late for them. They thought killing me would bury their secrets, but this video is going to a few organizations I trust, ones that have been exposing the truth for decades. You know who you are. It's your job to continue this fight. I was 16 when they reeled me in. I worked at Mar-a-Lago, folding towels, cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat. The real predator was Ghislaine Maxwell, prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach. I had no idea I was being fed into a nightmare machine. Epstein's Island was hell disguised as paradise. You've heard some names linked to him, but those are just the sacrificial pawns. The real players, the ones they've protected at all costs, are still hiding in plain sight. I'll name 2 now. The first, a former US president, Barack Obama. Publicly, he's revered. Privately, he was one of the worst. He wasn't there for the girls, he was there for the island boys. Young boys, trafficked and groomed. I saw him more times than I can count, always without his Secret Service detail, sometimes with his Hollywood friends, George Clooney and Tom Hanks. I still have nightmares about them, arrogant and drunk on power, slinking into the cabanas with kids barely out of childhood. The second, Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist, loved by the media, hailed as a savior. We called him the benefactor, and we used to dread seeing him naked. But he didn't come to party, he came to experiment. Genetic experiments, human experiments. I saw him inject a young girl with something they said was a genetic enhancement. She was younger than me, strapped to a table, terrified, treated like a lab rat while they muttered about seeding the future of the species. These men think they are gods, playing with life like it was theirs to own. I'm telling you now, Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable. He held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on Earth. Files, videos, confessions. They couldn't risk him talking, but they also couldn't risk him gone, so they hid him. Stashed him under the protection of the same elite who once paid him to supply them with flesh. And they thought killing me would stop this from coming out. They were wrong, and there is so much more to come. Hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies. It's all gonna hit the light. This video is just the first detonation. The data drops are timed and automatic. They are going to people who can make a difference, and nobody can stop it now. Not even the law enforcement agencies in the US and UK, the same ones that buried the evidence I handed them, can stop this truth from getting out. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. Don't let my death be just another headline. Burn their lies to the ground. Make the world see the monsters behind the masks. And to any survivors out there, don't give up. We're in this together. They can't kill us all. Make them pay.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a mechanism, right? Yeah. Something designed to release information if anything happens to the person holding it, like a digital failsafe.
Yeah, a dead man's switch. And today, that often involves things like, crypto keys or maybe pre-scheduled emails managed by someone else. It all hinges on missing a check-in.
Exactly. It's this really intriguing, sometimes, pretty unsettling concept, and that's what we're diving into today.
Right. Our focus is on a transcript that claims exactly that a switch like this has actually been activated. We're working from excerpts, specifically from a YouTube video.
Which one is that?
It's titled, Virginia Giuffre's Dead Man Switch Released. I Have Been Murdered. It was uploaded on the Roz and Smoke channel.
Got it. So our mission here, for you listening, is to really explore the weight, the implications of what's claimed in this purported message.
And it doesn't waste any time. The video hits you immediately with this really arresting statement. Sets the tone right away.
What does it say?
It says, if you're watching this, it means they got me my dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried.
Wow. Okay. straight in. So the voice identifies herself as Virginia Giuffre.
Yes, Virginia Giuffre. And she states she was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. She also claims that, while she survived in St. James, her survival came at a price.
A price? What kind of price, according to the video?
Well, the quote is, "I saw too much, knew too much, and now they've silenced me."
So this is often central to these dead man switch ideas, isn't it? That the information itself is so dangerous that someone would kill to suppress it. What does it tell us when a message starts this directly, claiming murder right off the bat?
It immediately sets up this narrative of, extreme threat, really high stakes. It positions the message as this final, maybe desperate attempt to get suppressed truths out there.
And the intended impact? Does it say who it's for?
Yes, it does. Very specifically, Giuffre, or the voice claiming to be her, states it's going to a few organizations I trust, ones that have been exposing the truth for decades.
Okay.
And the instruction is explicit. It's your job to continue this fight. So it sounds like a very deliberate strategy, trying to bypass maybe official channels or media gatekeepers, making sure the info persists, regardless of how sensational it is.
Right. From that really dramatic opening, the video then seems to shift focus. It talks about how she allegedly got into this network in the first place.
It does. She claims she was, quote, reeled in at 16.
Yes.
Started working at Mar-a-Lago, just folding towels, cleaning lockers. Even mentions her father worked there, keeping the tennis courts immaculate. Describes the family as just working folks trying to scrape by.
So it paints this picture of maybe a vulnerability, a specific background that could make someone a target.
Exactly. Provides that context. And what's also really notable is the specific claim about Donald Trump. It says he was around, but he was never the threat.
Interesting. So who was the threat, according to this?
The focus shifts squarely onto Ghislaine Maxwell. She's portrayed as the real predator, described as prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach.
Right.
And the feeling conveyed is just being fed into a nightmare machine.
That phrase, nightmare machine, really drives home the alleged initial experience. And from that personal story, the video then kind of zooms out, broadens the scope.
Yeah, it moves from those alleged early encounters to what she calls the darker side of paradise, describing Epstein's Island as hell disguised as paradise.
And this is where it claims to sort of pull back the curtain further.
That's the implication. Giuffre asserts that the names usually linked to Epstein, the ones we hear often, are just sacrificial pawns.
Sacrificial pawns. So who are the real players then, according to this one?
Well, it claims the real players, the ones they've protected at all costs, are still hiding in plain sight. Which naturally means
Yeah. Indeed. And the video does name names. Quite prominently. Let's start with Barack Obama. The message alleges that publicly he's revered, privately he was one of the worst. That's a huge contrast, isn't it? Public image versus these private allegations.
It really is. And the allegation is incredibly specific and graphic, claiming, quote, he wasn't there for the girls. He was there for the island boys. Young boys trafficked and groomed.
Wow.
The source also claims she saw him more times than I can count, always without a Secret Service detail. Sometimes, apparently, with his Hollywood friends George Clooney and Tom Hanks.
And the impact on her, does it mention that?
Yes, it speaks of lasting trauma. Quote, I still have nightmares about them arrogant and drunk on power, slinking into the cabanas with kids barely out of childhood. Including that kind of graphic personal trauma seems clearly intended to boost the message's, well, emotional weight and maybe perceived authenticity for some listeners.
And then the video turns to Bill Gates, described as the billionaire philanthropist loved by the media, hailed as a savior. Again, we see that theme, right? The public image versus the alleged private reality.
Exactly. And again, the details in the source are quite striking. There's this alleged internal nickname, the benefactor, and her stated dread of, quote, seeing him naked. But the most, I'd say, extraordinary claim here is that Gates didn't come to party. He came to experiment genetic experiments, human experiments.
Human experiments, what does that even mean in this context?
Well, the video alleges Giuffre observed Gates injecting a young girl with something they said was a genetic enhancement. It notes the girl was, quote, younger than me, strapped to a table, terrified, treated like a lab rat, while they muttered about seeding the future of the species. It paints this incredibly disturbing picture, based purely on the source material, of course.
The mindset being alleged here, it's chilling. The video sums it up by saying, these men think they are gods playing with life like it was theirs to own. This framing, this playing God idea, how does that resonate in sort of broader discussions about powerful elites?
That's a really common trope, actually. This playing God motif often appears in narratives questioning the ethics, the unchecked power of the very wealthy or influential. It taps into deep-seated fears, fears of manipulation, of control, especially when you pair with allegations as horrific as these.
Right.
It works to essentially dehumanize the alleged perpetrators of the narrative and amplify the sense of outrage and injustice. And it really sets the stage for maybe the most shocking claim in the whole source text.
Which is?
Regarding Jeffrey Epstein himself, Giuffre, or the voice attributed to her, asserts flatly, Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable.
Staged his death? Too valuable for what, exactly? What's the alleged motive?
According to the video, Epstein held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on Earth, files, videos, and confessions. And the claim is, they couldn't risk him talking, but they also couldn't risk him gone. So they hid him, stashed him under the protection of the same elite who once paid him to supply them with flesh.
That is an incredible claim, a massive cover-up alleged there. This specific idea that Epstein isn't dead is one of the most persistent conspiracy theories out there, isn't it? What does including that in this alleged dead man switch tell us? About the source's intent, perhaps?
Well, the Epstein is alive theory definitely has huge traction in certain online communities. It acts as this powerful symbol, doesn't it, of perceived elite immunity of deep state conspiracy. So including it here feels like a calculated move. It sort of piggybacks on these existing narratives that are already circulating widely. It potentially gives the message instant credibility among people already suspicious of the official story. Reinforces the idea that they are behind these vast deceptions.
And does the message suggest this video is the end of it? Or is there more alleged information?
No, it explicitly says this isn't the end. The voice states her belief that her death won't stop the truth. She says this video is just the first detonation and claims the data drops are timed and automatic, mentioning hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies.
Timed automatic data drops? So like the dead man switch is multifaceted?
Apparently so, according to the source. And this leads to a direct challenge to authority. The claim is nobody can stop it now. Not even the law enforcement agencies in the US and UK. The same ones that buried the evidence I handed them can stop this truth from getting out.
It's incredibly defiant language, painting this truth, as defined by the source, as completely unstoppable.
And that defiant tone carries right into a really powerful call to action at the end of the video message.
What do I say?
It addresses the viewer directly. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. Don't let my death be just another headline. Burn their lives to the ground. Make the world see the monsters behind the masks.
Wow, you are the resistance. That's quite direct. And there's a final message, too.
Yes, a message allegedly to other survivors. Don't give up. We're in this together. They can't kill us all.
Okay. So just to recap the core claims from this source we've been looking at. It's a purported dead man switch message. It alleges murder, huge cover-ups, and claims incredibly powerful figures were involved in truly horrifying acts.
Exactly. That's the essence of the source material we must have.
And the source explicitly urges you, the listener, to consider the weight of all these allegations, and its call is to make the world see the monsters behind the masks. What does a message like this, with such extreme claims, such a clear call to action, tell us about how information spreads now, especially sensitive, controversial stuff in the digital age?
Well, it highlights how these kinds of narratives can emerge and circulate outside traditional frameworks. This type of dead man switch message, whether credible or not, isn't just about the specific information it claims to hold. It's also about the disruption it aims to cause, the questions it forces. And you have to think, if even a tiny fraction of what this source alleges, these hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies, if anything like that were ever to actually surface as described, what would that mean?
Right, what would the ripple effect be?
It could be profound, not just about specific people, but maybe about how we understand global power structures, how society functions, how narratives themselves can be challenged or even created online. It really leaves you with a lot to think about regarding trust, information, and power in our current world.